Hey YouTube, on today's episode of Let's See What We Can Fix in the Camper. Since we have to put a new TV antenna on it, that gives me the chance to figure out the spaghetti mess I have in the ceiling of TV cables. The people that I bought the camper from had disconnected all the cables that went into the main box above the TV here. I'll show you here in a minute. And used a satellite dish external box and ran that in and had that plugged in to the camper to actually get their TV. I don't have a satellite dish. I sold the dish itself. I don't have the box to make it work. So I'm trying to get back to original so the antenna works and I can plug a cable in on the outside like normal if I go someplace that has cable. So let me show you what we're working with. Alright, so here's the new antenna. There's the base. Let's go up on the roof and I'll show you what I got done. Alright, so there's the hole. There's the bottom of the antenna. This camper actually had a plate here, this plastic plate sat here. And because of the slope of the roof, it's a wedge shape. So the antenna was straight when it goes up. So I gotta clean that off, gotta clean all that goop off. But here's the old antenna, and as you can see, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. It's not attached anymore. Should be a nut or something that goes on that, and it is no longer there. So that is why that was wobbly. And I would have no doubt that water was getting in there. But I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully that was one of my problems. So alright, time to clean this up. Catch you guys later. Okay, so there's the initial scraping. There's the pile I scraped off. So what I was doing was I took this putty knife and I just worked it like this underneath the stuff that was on there. Trying not to dig down into this and trying not to damage anything else. As you can see, there, and there, the holes have rust on them. I'm thinking water was getting down under the seal here, under this stuff, and water was getting in there. I think that's part of my problem. And then, like I said, water's coming in the top there too. So the roof here looks pretty solid. I mean, you can see it's a pretty thick roof. Pretty thick right where the roof is. So hopefully no major damage. I tucked the cable wire down in for now. I'm going to stick a rag in this hole overnight tonight. We're not supposed to get any rain. But the rag will just keep from bugs and critters from getting in. So there we go. So that'll be good till tomorrow because, as you can see, the sun's coming down. So we'll take the plate here, get it. I'll clean that tomorrow, or maybe tonight. I'll leave the screws up here. I don't care. I think the new one came with new screws, and all this crap can stay up here till tomorrow. Bringing a bag up here and throw it all in the bag so I don't get it all on the ground and stuff, so people aren't walking in it. And yeah, so that's the initial cleaning. I'll come up here with some solvent and do another quick cursory wipe across all this to get some of this other stuff off. But I'm going to have butyl tape all the way around here anyways. I did notice, let me see if I can find it. I kind of smeared over it, but yeah, let's see, right here. Where'd it go? Right there. It's got a slit in it, and that's a nice straight slice. So I am 99% positive that wasn't from me with my scraper knife, because I was running it this direction, not, you know, the edge was out here and out here where my fingers are, so not right here along this edge. Alright, so the cables all come out of the ceiling right there. And they all come down to this clustered jumbled mess. So you got the 3 cables there. And then back here, that's the plate. It has the 12-volt power wires. And then you have your 3 in. You have your TV set, or your antenna in, your TV set 1, your TV set 2. Or no, I'm sorry. Antenna in, cable in, and TV 2. So you have one TV here on the front. It's hard to do with one hand. One TV here, which is the bedroom TV. This is for the cable coming from the side of the camper. And this is from the antenna. So this was just hanging in there. Well, since I bought a new antenna, it came with a new plug here. So I'm going to completely replace this. And now we're going to trace these wires to figure out which one's which. I figured the easiest way to do that is I took and put a TV cable on the one that comes from the ceiling up into the antenna. I just poked it down through the crank hole. This is where your crank is to crank the antenna up. Alright, so what I did was I took the multimeter and I'm going to touch one end of the cable here to the multimeter negative. And I'm going to take the multimeter positive and I'm going to start touching wires. And whichever one beeps, look at that, right off the bat, I found the first one. I touch these other ones and they don't beep. And the way I did that was I set this to a continuity tester. So basically I'm checking for power flow going through the line. So when you set your multimeter to the continuity and then you start touching the copper core, that tells me that's the cable. So this one here is the one that goes to the cable box. Or I'm sorry, from the antenna. So we'll put the new one on there. And then we'll do the same thing. I'll hook a cable to the bedroom outlet. So there we go. I plugged the little plug into the ceiling up there. And then ran that along there out to the camper, outside of the camper. Follow it down, and back up to where I was. And then we will test and do the same thing here. Alright, so as you saw there, we found which one was which. It was this one that didn't have any other tape on it. So I went ahead and hooked that in here. I spared you the agony of watching me try to screw that thing on with one hand. Then we found the other one, which process elimination. If this was the bedroom, obviously the third one was the one that comes from the TV cable port outside. Take you outside and show you where that's at here in a minute. Put all that on the new plug-in. Now we'll take the 12-volt wires off of this and we'll put them back on this. It should be pretty plain and simple. This one will go here and the one down below on the back here will go on the back. Pretty cut and dry, easy replacement. Then we'll put it back up in the ceiling. Then once we get the antenna installed, either later today, depending on the temperature of the heat, how long I feel like being up on the roof or not. Once we get the antenna installed, we'll point her in the right direction. I got an app on my phone for that to tell me which way we're going to go ahead and point the antenna. And then after we point the antenna in the right direction, we will turn on the TV and see if we can find some TV channels. Stick around for that. Put the 12-volt wires on here. Technically, yep, see it's lit up. Push the button, power's off, power's on. That's for this electrical socket. And they say it boosts the power on this too because, I don't know if that really happens or not, but that turns this socket on and off. So, all right, let's put that bad boy up in the roof and then I will take you outside and show you where the outside plug-in is. All right, so we got those wires stuffed up in there. Got the screws started by hand so we don't strip them out. 1 and 2 and as you see, that is now installed and we're good to go. Let's take you outside quick. All right, so my park cable hookup is out here right next to my power hookup. Here's the power, there's the park cable. Just a little square box here on the outside. It should be a little, see like that right there, there should be a little cap that covers this. Keep water from getting in there and stuff, but it's old. It's plastic, looks like it's a little brittle. Maybe eventually I'll replace that, but yeah, so you plug your cable in from the park hookup if they have it. Not many have it anymore, I'm being told. But you plug in your cable box there, or from your pedestal to there, and you have your park cable right there. All right, so like we talked to you about yesterday morning, we have this plate here that needs to be scraped off. This is that wedge that levels out the antenna when it's on the roof because of the curve of the roof. So we're going to start scraping all this stuff off of it. I already did the other side, so as you can see, I mean, I might pop some stuff from the picnic table, but that's fairly clean. I'll wipe it with a solvent cleaner to get like the residue off, but it's not really gonna matter. We're gonna put the butyl tape along the edges here all the way around, and then suck that back down to the camper once we put the antenna back up there. So all right, let's get to scraping the other side. As you can see, it's really gummy. So what we'll do is we'll scrape off as much of the gummy stuff as we can, and then see these little creases in here? What I'll do is I'll take it and I'll run the edge along the crease that way, and then I'll run it on the other side, and that pretty much pulls it right up out of that crease. Now there's still a little bit of residual in there, and that's not going to hurt anything because, like I said, the butyl tape is going to go along this anyway. So all right, I'll spare you the agony of watching me scrape for hours. I'm going to sit here and scrape this stuff off, and then we'll come back once it's all scraped off and show you. All right, so there is the goop, and here's the plate. Scraped off everything, scraped all the channels out. So, well, I mean, still got some stuff that was stuck to it. That's from the cable here, but so there's a plate all scraped off. We'll clean off the roof a little more, and then we'll take this back up. We'll remount this on the roof and put the antenna back up. All right, so we got everything up here on the roof. Here's that plate we were talking about. I just slid the cable through it, put the plate on there like that, and it sits on there nice and smooth. Now that's not going to be on there yet because I still have to put the butyl tape between here and here, but just so I know which way the plate's got to go when we sit here on the thing. So I got the cable adapter here. This comes from the antenna. This is going into the cable that goes down through the roof. So I just use a Cannon plug, put that on there like that. Okay, so that is good. Tuck that back down in the roof hole. Have to shove it down in there a little further later, but it's all good. And then, yeah, go from there. So let me put the butyl tape down and I'll show you what we're gonna do there. All right, so I screwed up and I forgot to show you. I did the outline here. You'll see I have some left over here, but we'll just trim that off once we're done, and then I'll seal this up with the butyl, or with the other seal tape I have. So I put that plate on, I pressed it down into place. It is centered on the hole down there. So then we're going to put the butyl tape around here, and we'll sit this down on there using the screws to line the screw holes up. And then we'll go from there. All right, so let's get started. All right, guys, so there we go. There it is, fully installed. All the screws are screwed back in. I used the originals that were there only because the new ones would have been too short to go down into the roof. Like you can see, it's just sitting there, and it's literally right at the edge, so they weren't long enough to go in there. So I just went ahead and used the old hardware. Not a big deal. The old screws were fine. This one was a little rusty, but they all snugged down fine. All that's left now is I'll get some self-leveling die core, and I'll run a bead along all these, so then it'll flatten out across there. And then I'll get I'll peel off all this stuff here after this has had a chance to sit down. I'll come back up and I'll retighten it here in a little bit after I make sure everything's good, and we'll put the antenna on. Okay, so the antenna is installed up there. All I gotta do is die core around the bolts and then seam seal it after I peel some of the extra butyl tape off. And we come down here and we go in the camper where we installed this. So this was simple. All I had to do was, I didn't have to, but I took the old arrow port off this, took that off the ceiling because it's kind of yellowed a little bit here on the edge and stuff. Put the new one up, put the new hand wheel up through, put the, oh no, there was another task that I had to do. So the shaft actually was all the way down here, so the handle was here, so it didn't spring up against that. So you had to cut the shaft to size. I don't know if I cut it small enough or not, but basically what happens is you pull this down like this, and then you rotate the antenna to the direction you want it. And arrow to arrow puts it back in place to put it up and down. So I go like this, can turn it, let's see here, that's all the way that direction, which is pointed that way basically, and that's the antenna. Ta-da! All right, so roof project. We installed the antenna like I told you we're going to, and I used the butyl tape under the antenna base and under the antenna itself onto the base, and now I just die cored the crap out of around it, around the antenna, and you might be able to see it, but all the way down there I put goops where all the screw holes were for the four corners there for the new fridge vent. So between these three things, radio antenna, TV antenna, and the roof vent, I just went through an entire tube of die core self-leveling lap sealant. Okay, now that we got the antenna up and we got it up on the roof pointed in a direction, here's a map of where the antennas are in my area. There's a couple different apps out there you can use to find the maps of where antennas are. This is just the one that I happen to use. So here's a little view of what that looks like. As you can see, you can scroll down and it points the direction you should point your antenna from where you're sitting to where the antennas are, and gives a rough distance. Or you can go in here and you can look at a map of where you're at and the north, south, east, west of where the antennas are from you, and look at it that direction. I prefer to go back to the first menu where you can scroll up and down and look at it this way. Okay, so now that we found where we want our antenna pointed and we got it pointed in the right direction, we make sure the little green light, see the little green light's on for our booster. So we come out here. Oh, look at them fingerprints from just touching that screen. Oh well. So then we turn on the TV. Every TV is going to be a little different. So where I'm going in to do this on my TV may not be the same for yours. But I'm going to go to live TV. I'm going to go to channel scan. I'm going to go to next. And it is now going to scan the channels and tell me how many channels it finds. And you'll do this for each TV that you have in the camper. I have 2 TVs. I have one out here in the main living area and one in the bedroom. I believe I showed you that one earlier in the video. I apologize for the glare from the outside door. Not really a way to avoid that. Close the door, but you're still going to have a glare from the window. And it has now found 8 channels. We're going to click done. And as you can see, we did the same thing here in the bedroom. We scanned channels, came up with obviously the same amount of channels. And now I got TV in the kitchen / living area and in the bedroom. So there is a TV playing. You can see every once in a while you'll see like a little glitch. As you watch it, there'll be a glitch here or there. That's to be expected, and it's not pointed in the right direction or a little off. Change channel, go to the next channel. Yeah, there you can see the glitch. So the antenna would need turned either left or right just a little bit to be pointed at the antenna for that particular station. But as you can see, it's very watchable. There's no issues watching it that way. Doesn't affect how the channel actually works. Audio's fine, and a little glitch here and there, unless that type of thing bothers you, which to me it doesn't. It's free TV, and that first station that I had it on, WNEP, that is a local station that has local news and weather. So at night at 5, 6, and 6:30, I think, are the 3 times they do news on that channel. I can turn on and go to what's happening locally and get the local weather and that kind of stuff based off of this area. So that is the way that we do it. Like I said, each TV is a little different on how you search for the channels. This one was a little different than the one out in the kitchen. Alright guys, so in today's video we showed you how I installed the antenna. Not every antenna is going to be the same, but most of them are going to be pretty dang close to the same if it comes to that type of antenna. There are like the dome ones that automatically search and rotate that way. Of course, you have your Dish Network ones. They're going to be a different type of install, but they're all going to be fairly similar. Install them on the roof, put a hole in the roof if you don't already have one, run the cable, that kind of thing, and then go from there. And then after we did it, I sealed it up. I showed you a little bit of the seal job that I did up on the roof. If you want to see the entire seal job, there's another video. It was the video right before this one that if you go to YouTube and go to the video right before this on our channel, you'll see that video. That shows how I did the entire roof, from washing it and scrubbing it down to the little fixes that I had to do and all that kind of stuff. And then after we did that, I was able to sort out the rat's nest of TV cables that were up here in this cabinet. If you remember at the beginning of the video I showed you, we had one coming from the antenna, one coming from the park input, so on the outside of the camper that comes in. Then you had one that goes back to the bedroom TV, and then the one that goes to this TV here. So I was able to finally narrow down which one goes to what, get them all plugged into the right spot on that little power block, put that up in there and install that. And then I showed you the app that I used. In that app, you had the ability to see an overall map, or to see just a listing with arrows pointing, you know, this way, that way, this way, as to where that antenna is in relation to where you were holding your phone. I like that one versus the overall map. It's a little easier to read, and I can scroll down and get a better idea of, okay, there's more channels pointed in that direction than there are this direction, so I'm going to point my antenna that way because I'll get more TV. Or if there was a specific channel, like WNEP is the one that's very specific in this area that has the news that I watch. This camper sitting on a permanent site, so I know that that's the local news here. that's the one I wanted to go to. So I was able to point it in the direction of that. And there's a couple other channels that came with it, like CW. I think the one is called My TV. My TV allows you to watch like some of the older shows, like I Dream of Jeannie and Dick Van Dyke and stuff like that. TV shows I grew up on as a kid. And then again, like I said, the local news and stuff on WNEP, which is a local channel here. So that was you know how I figured out which antennas. Then I showed you, on this particular TV here, I showed you how we did a scan to find the channels. I didn't show you how we did it on the one in the bedroom. I'm not going to waste your time and show you on every TV that we have. This is how you do on this one. This is how I'm not going to do that. It was just a general, okay, here's how I did it on this TV, so you can see and get a rough idea. Maybe your TV has a similar menu, because this type of TV is a very popular TV. So did that, showed you with the TV, we talked about it a little bit, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was kind of informative for you. Don't forget to comment, good, bad, or indifferent, and like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Take care.